Hello, everyone, and welcome to D and Z TV. It's becoming really spiritual, because of the kind of things that are beginning to happen in the palace these few days, especially since after Naomi carried out that tarry night on the March 28th February that led to March. February is always a very special month because that's the only month where you get to see 29th happening just once. So anytime Naomi does that tarry night in that month of February to March, it comes on with a whole lot of unforeseen circumstances and things that cannot be perceived by the eyes. It's only when you're spiritual that you can actually see what's happening. Something really peculiar happened after that program because there has been a lingering curse in the palace of the Ooni for a very long time. By the Ooni's standard, there are some certain things that are supposed to be happening that are not happening, especially when it comes to bearing of children. How come it's just now that Oni is beginning to make babies? How come all the women are now beginning to have children now? It is because there has been a curse. So after the prayers Naomi did pray on that tarry night day, there was something very peculiar that even to say it, my mouth is shaking. Yes, my mouth is really shaking because when I think about how it happened, I tremble, I fear. And Naomi got a revelation about the curse of a slave boy in the palace of Ooni of Ife. My God, my God, my God. When I got this rema and realization, I knew that Naomi is someone that God is really, really using for this end time generation. There was so much wickedness. You know that in the 18th century, when the Ile-Ife kingdom was actually at its best, in the era of slave trade, that there were a lot of slave trade points in Nigeria, especially in the Yoruba kingdom. Slave trade was what was used to show if somebody is big or if somebody is small. It was used to show capacity and level. So the Onis, about 3, 4, or 5 Onis that came before Oni of the present day Oni of Ife, Ojaja, Ogunwusi, did a very heinous crime to a young boy. There was a slave boy who was kidnapped and caught. They brought him from Edo State, Bini, and took him to Ile-Ife, Ibadan. When they now got to that place, at that point in time, they were actually still trying to build the present day palace. Kai, the way I'm saying this thing, I'm even having goose pimples. If you need to be there to see how Naomi was narrating this scenario, Naomi was narrating it directly from the way she was hearing it from God. She said that this slave boy was brought from Benin. He was the only child of his parents, and he had so many big dreams. He had a dream of being a lawyer, he had a dream of starting a family, he had a dream of doing so much. But guess what? They cut short his life. They cut short his life because he was an ordinary slave boy. And guess what they did? Right at the middle of the palace is where this young boy was buried alive. And at this point in time, the whole of that present day Ojaja palace was only bush. Bushes actually surrounded the whole place. They brought this boy. The boy pleaded. You needed to hear the boy begging that please, please, I know I am a slave boy. Please allow me go. Let me go back to my people. Please, I beg you. But the Ifa priests that were working at that time now were actually people who had their hearts behind them. And all of the pleas of this young boy was falling on deaf ears. It was as if they were pouring water on top of the back of a dog. The boy pleaded and pleaded and pleaded. But the more he pleaded, the more these people did not give a listening ear to this boy. That was how they now forcefully buried this boy alive. But before the boy was buried, They asked him, young slave boy, do you have anything to say? The boy now said, since they have deprived his parents the joy of a young boy who has plans of becoming a lawyer. This boy was supposed to be in the era of Herbert Macaulay. The boy now said, since they have deprived his own parents of having the joy of a son, that he's placing a curse on the whole of the palace, that this house, that they are going to look for a child, that even if any male child is going to be born in that palace, it has to be done by the spiritual woman. It is only a spiritual woman that can have a first male child in that house. God, no wonder it was not Naomi that was able to break that yoke to now give the Ooni a boy. You see how this thing, after almost how many decades, it is now beginning to come in circles to align. The slave boy cause is still lingering. How come as of today have you thought it? Why is Tade not happy? Yes. Why is Prince Tade not happy? It is that cause that is still hovering. Because if not for that cause, Tade is supposed to be in his place of abundance and a place of rest. Today, Mama day. Tomorrow, Mama no day. Today, Papa day. Today, Papa no. Tomorrow, Papa no day. Look at the only time Naomi was supposed to sit down comfortably and enjoy her marriage. What now happened? There was a stampede. Even that stampede, it is still part of the cause of this slave boy. If you are there where you are and you think causes don't exist, cause my brother, don't try Africa people. Causes exist very well. The slave boy cried and wept, but they didn't listen to him. They still went ahead to bury him alive. And when he cried and told them what he told them. But see now, things are beginning to, people who knew nothing about it are suffering. But thank God for the life of Naomi. She was able to pray away the cause. Because when God shows you a revelation, which means he wants to settle the matter. So Naomi, who was the cornerstone, and became the chief cornerstone that was now used to finally bring good things to the palace. I am happy and excited that this curse has been broken. Even the Ooni himself, when he heard about this matter, wallahi, the Ooni could not eat. Ooni could not eat for 72 hours. 72 hours, because that is the number of time, the days Jesus was in the grave before he now came out. But I thank God that the curse has been broken, the snare has been broken, and the the animal has now regained strength to fly. Peace has returned. Apart from those ones that are married right now, more marriages are going to come. More abundance is going to come because the coast has been finally set clear. All other people, thank you so much for being part of this. As we sign out, we ask you to click our subscription button, comment, like, and share our videos so that we can give you more authentic videos straight from the oven. Spicy oven indeed. Thank you and bye-bye.